It's not a very nice game.
Hello, welcome to episode 131 of Chet and John's Reassuringly Finite Gaming Playlist. My name's John Denton, with me as always, Chet Roivas.
Hello.
Right, let's do this. 2 top 10 lists, 10 being the game we played the least this week, 1 being the game we've played the most. Same as always. Let's do this, Chet.
Okay, right, my number 10 is Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare on the Xbox One. It should be higher on my list, but I don't have anything to say about it. My girlfriend has now put a similar number of hours into Garden Warfare as I have to Battlefield 4.
Wow.
And that's, it's not a small number. But we've been talking for ages about getting a second Xbox One controller so that we could play together, and we did that the other day.
It's ridiculous that has to be a discussion. That's how expensive they are.
Yeah, exactly. 40. Yeah, I think 40 quid, which is just...
I thought they were 50.
Well, I think the RRP is 50, but we got it for 40. But rather annoyingly, we thought that you could play online competitive co-op like in Halo, but you can only do an offline version of that Horde variant, which was just terribly disappointing. I mean, that was fun. We played through that once, but we won't do it again. So we've shelled out £40 for no reason, which is really, really irritating. The game itself is still absolutely outstanding, but that was just... yeah, tremendously disappointing. And the back of the box, it's not exactly evasive, but it kind of suggests that it's there when it's not. But anyway, I suppose at least I can play. If a friend pops around, I can now play FIFA because I've got 2 pads. But otherwise it's 40 quid down the toilet.
You'll get some use out of it, I'm sure, eventually.
Maybe.
My number 10 is Mario Kart, the DS version. Did I talk about this already in another podcast? I can't remember anything.
The last time you spoke about it, you lost a race at an airport and bit into your 3DS, I think.
Oh no, this isn't the 3DS version.
Oh right.
I can't believe you can remember that because I have no memory of that. Oh yeah, I do remember that. Yeah. But no, this is the DS version, which I bought my little boy. He had his first week of school, and as a present, I gave him my old DSi that I had in the cupboard somewhere, and bought him like a second-hand Mario Kart DS because he's always been obsessed. Well, not always, but for the last few months, been obsessed with watching the Wii U version, and he's gone from in the space of a week. Basically just kind of been able to maybe steer around the corners a little bit and drive into the wall to being able to get around the track. And then yesterday, or maybe the day before, I can't remember, I was sitting watching him and he's basically just played in non-stop since I gave it to him. And he won 3 races in a row in the Mushroom Cup at 39 months old, which I think if I was to film him doing this and put it on YouTube, it would be a sensation. But I'm not going to do that because that's exploitative. This is as far as I will exploit his Mario Kart skills. Okay. But it's amazing to see, to watch that happen, to literally not even be able to control it or move it at all within the space of 7 days, be winning races. He would win more, but every time he misses the presents, he stops and goes back, which is adorable, but it's not a good tactic.
No, it's not. When he starts beating you, are you going to be able to take it in good grace?
Oh yeah, I already had it with my younger brother. He's so much younger than me. Oh yeah. He's 8 years younger than me, and he started killing me on GoldenEye. So yeah, I've been through that. I'm okay with it.
Okay, cool. All right, that's good. Have you had a game of it yourself?
Oh yeah, I've had a few. So technically, that's why it's on the list. I played plenty or picked up. He can't do. I don't know if you can even remember the 4th track. It's probably been on other ones. It's like the Luigi's Wood or Scary Wood or something with the little trees that creep across.
Yeah.
That's like the 4th track, and he gets confused by that because there's one bit where it doesn't really matter. The presents go in a circle, and if he doesn't get one, he'll just follow them around. But yeah, so I've played a few trying to help him with that. Still really good. Really good, obviously. They don't make bad Mario Karts, really.
They don't on handheld consoles, that's for sure.
Yeah. There's a couple of mild duffers, I suppose, but they're still pretty good. Yeah,
I mean, I liked Double Dash. It was just the Wii one that, again, I actually liked, but it wasn't really a Mario Kart game. It was a strange party game, but... cool. All right. Well, anyway, my number 9 is State of Decay on the Xbox 360.
Fuck! I thought you were going to say State of Emergency.
No,
for a minite.
No. Unfortunately, not. I was scanning through my games on the 360 on a very lazy Sunday morning, and this just jumped out. I thought, "Fuck yes, I'm definitely felt completely right." There was a large patch to download, which is going to, I believe it's going to accommodate the 2 new DLC packs that are coming at some point.
Okay.
Or are they out now? I don't know.
There's definitely been DLC for it, but I've not really kept up with it since it came out.
Yeah, there was something that changed or gave you a new mode or changed the game in some way, but I don't know. I think there's actually new proper story content, I think. But anyway, I downloaded that, rebooted the game, which I had to do, and my save was gone. And I'm not massively happy about it. I put hours and hours into that game, and I was approaching the climax, I think, and it's gone. It was just vanished. I went into my hard drive, it wasn't there. It just deleted it from my hard drive. So, yeah. My only option was to start the game from scratch, so I did that. I did that opening bit where you battle through the zombies with those 2 NPCs, but I was like, ugh, I guess I'm done. Yeah, it really does. I mean, I know they're relaunching it on like PS4 and Xbox One at some point, but I put so much time into that fecking game, and now I'll never know what happens at the end. But the plot wasn't really, I don't really care about that. It's just losing all of that shit. It's annoying.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, it really does.
Yeah,
it's probably the same on mine, but I haven't put it on. Okay, then my number 9 is another DS game of all things. It's a game called Crash of the Titans. This was the first game my little boy bought. He got £5 pocket money from his one of his grandparents. So we took him to CEX, and he could pick a game. There was plenty for a fiver, and for some reason he wanted to buy Crash of the Titans, which had Crash Bandicoot and some sort of weird dragon thing on the front. Not Spyro, just some other thing. He wanted that one. Fine. Fucking awful, horrendous game. The people who made it should be ashamed of themselves that they're putting this game out for young children, because it's not only is it ugly and horrendous to look at, and it is a DS game, so fair enough. It's also like the noises are disgusting. It's just a crap brawler. It's not like a normal Crash game where you're doing platforming or anything like that. Really, there is a bit of that. It's basically just it's kind of like a Knack type game. You're just walking along hitting things, but infinitely worse. It makes Knack look like fucking Ocarina of Time or something. It's a horror show, this game. He's already, even at 3 years old, he's already decided he's found a video game he doesn't like, which didn't take him very long. I swear I didn't have one of those until I was about 8.
Yeah, me too.
It was only a fiver, but I feel like taking it back to CX, you can't exactly take stuff back to that shop, can you? They just look at you like the kind of pond scum that everybody else in that shop tends to be. Yeah, just a shame. But I think he still likes the box and the instructions, so there's something at least.
Yeah, I didn't have discerning taste at that age. I don't think I had it until even later than 8. I mean, I was buying horseshit games. I still do. I mean, I always try and love poor games, but I mean that's quite something, considering you compared it to Knack, and he quite likes Knack.
Oh, he loves Knack. Yeah, he asks me every single day, every hour of every day, if he can come play Knack. He loves it. And this would, he's played a load of it this week. That would probably technically be on this list in terms of the amount that I've played of it. And it's still alright. It's a lot better than Crash of the Titans. Although I just thought it was going to be a Crash game. Just run along, jump, get an apple,
Yeah, okay. All right, well, I'll steer clear if I ever come across that game.
Yeah, that 10-year-old kid's license game or whatever.
Yeah, all right. Okay, my number 8 is a game called Slender: The Arrival on the Xbox 360. It just arrived on the Xbox 360 today, I think, Wednesday, which is probably a very smart move, because horror games have always done really well on 360, and I'm pretty sure they still do. So it might well make some decent money. I played the original PC version of Slender, the influential sort of homebrew thing that went viral, and I thought it was just fucking pap. There was nothing too thrilling about wandering around for half an hour picking up pieces of paper and occasionally being treated to a jump scare. And the Xbox 360 game White Noise did exactly the same thing, about 10 times better. But I thought I'd give this a go anyway. I mean, you played this, didn't you?
Yeah, I played both the original and this.
And this wasn't too hot, was it?
No, this is wank. It's more accomplished wank, but still wank.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, I was quite surprised because I didn't really know a whole lot about it. It starts with the cast list and credits, so they've obviously tried to concoct some kind of story around this. But I only played the demo, and it's a terrible demo if you want a demo to sell you the game, but it is a great demo if you're obsessed with value for money, although you're not paying any money for it, because you can probably play it forever. And I damn near did. I wandered around a forest, I wandered around a house, I found a torch, I found a picture of a dead old lady. I found a note that said, surely we can't have had the same hallucination. That's impossible. Whatever could they be talking about? I played it for 25 minutes, even though I got bored after about 5. Not only is it fundamentally dull in the same way that the original game was, PT very recently made all horror games look unbelievably feeble, quaint even. So this, in comparison to that, was quite literally like a walk in the park. And I have no desire to play it again ever.
And Slender Man is crap.
I mean, yeah, the character's crap.
Yeah.
And both. I mean, I shouldn't speak. I've played the first 25 minutes. I've walked around the world for 25 minutes, and it didn't run particularly.
Nothing else happens. You go to some different environments, and he's still. It's just like, I'm not trying to be hard. Most things would scare me from horror if I saw them in real life. They'd scare the shit out of me. But I swear, I'm so sure that if I saw that guy in the distance, I'd be taken aback slightly at first, like if Daddy Longlegs catches you off guard. But after that, I'd be like, I can take this guy. I know I can. There's nothing to him. He's just a big load of sticks.
Yeah, and
rubbish.
Yeah, he's a rubbish character. I'm sure that nobody will know who Slenderman is in like 5 years. I think that's done now. Or did this sell really well?
Yeah, they've done really well, those games. Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, but they're like, fundamentally, if you said this before, if you stick someone in the dark in a game and you put brooding music and then you go rah at them, people will jump. And so people say that's scary, but it's not scary. Anyone could do that. I could go and do that to my wife right now. That's not me. That's not me being clever. That's just me being a dick. I don't really like those games.
No. I mean, I just don't think they're very good games. I mean, I was surprised that they hadn't. You know, there's bits of you can press a radio and you hear someone talking, or there's answer phone messages, but it is just the same thing. Walk around a space and maybe you get Yeah, it's. I mean, I think rubbish. No interest in playing any more of these games ever. I don't think.
No. My number 8 is the PS Plus game from this month on PS4 that wasn't Velocity 2X. Road Not Taken on PS4.
Last month, wasn't it?
I don't know anything about anything anymore. Yeah. Anyway, it's been sitting on my PS4 for it probably was last month, wasn't it? Since it came out, and I hadn't had a chance to play it. I didn't really know much about it, and from putting it on, it's a very confusing game. A kind of grid-based sort of puzzle/survival game. Instantly unappealing in every single way, from the visual style to the dialogue to just everything about it. Just was very off-putting for me personally. Not to say it's bad, it's kind of stylish, but it was just all the types of things that I don't like. Bordered on that kind of English gent type aesthetic that comes out of America. It makes me want to peel my own knees off, and mixes that with some kind of, I don't know, it's almost like it has an essence of a Japanese RPG to it, even though it has nothing to do with Japanese RPGs. That's just a bit of a kind of vague call. But it just didn't appeal to me. The gameplay is very curious and strange. Basically, you're this little character, and early on, I didn't play much of it. You're tasked with going finding some kids in the forest. You have a meter, a number at the top of your screen, which is your energy. Basically, it doesn't go down unless there are certain factors involved, one of which might be the screen you're on is a blizzard, so every square on the grid you move takes down your energy by 1, or most importantly, you can pick stuff up in the world and throw it, and if you move with the stuff that you're picking up, that'll make your energy go down to 0 and you die. So you're picking stuff up, and then like a lot of the puzzles early on are put 2 trees next to each other to open the gate. A lot of it's like that, but you can't just drop stuff. That you have to throw a certain amount of grid, and you can only ever pick up stuff in one direction. So it is this kind of confusing, irritating. It's like somewhere between one of those slide puzzle games that we both hate and like a kind of spatial puzzle game. Seemingly designed to irritate more than, I mean, it makes you think, but I don't think that's enough, really. It really didn't do anything for me at all, and I should have given it more time, really, if I was being critical, but it was so off-putting initially that I just thought, I can't really face trying to get the most out of this game. Why not just cut my losses? That's what I thought.
Yeah, there's been no talk about that game. It's sitting on my PS4 as well, and every time I look at it, I don't know anything about it. It could be a shooter, it could be a game that's perfect for me, but every time I look at it, I'm just like, no, I don't know what it is about that image. And the fact that no one's talking about it is very unusual. But no one's talking about Super Time Force, which is free on Xbox One at the moment, and that's fantastic.
Of course it is, yeah.
So if you have an Xbox One, incidentally, go and download that because it's free and it's really terrific.
Yeah, that's the mustard.
But yeah, Road Not Taken, I don't know if I'll even ever turn it on. I don't like the look of it.
I can imagine you getting 2 screens in and just being like, turning it off.
I shouldn't have that attitude because I don't know anything about it, but apart from what you just told me. But there are too many games. That's the problem.
There are.
Always the problem. Okay, my number 7 is a game called Wooden Sen'SeY on the Nintendo Wii U. I assume you haven't heard of this?
No, I haven't, no.
Okay. It's a 2D platformer that's on Wii U and it's also on PC. I was using my Wii U and I saw that there was a demo of this, so I downloaded it. It was on the front page of the eShop. In terms of quality, it's kind of best put like this. It's surprisingly good for something that's so visually unappealing and so derivative at the same time.
Right.
But when I say surprisingly good, I kind of mean surprisingly great. You play as this little Japanese village chief called Goro, and you can jump, and you have a sort of close quarters melee attack. But the game's really about a grappling hook and this slam attack that you have that enables you to attack from above and propels you up to high up ledges and high collectibles and stuff. Despite how done to death all of the elements are, it's the people that made it just clearly know what they're doing because bits of it were really devious and really, really clever. And the demo's not easy. It was challenging in a way that made me just keep coming back until I'd finished it. I think the demo's time-based. I got about halfway through level 3 before it just said, hey, do you want to buy the game? So it didn't feel like it was actually a set demo.
Right.
And the game could shoot its bolt in the opening 20 minutes, but that's about as long as I played. And going on that, it's a gamble that's worth the £8 they're asking, I'd say. But that's provided that you haven't, if you aren't completely exhausted by platformers. But if I had just purely for the sake of shorthand, if I had to compare this to something else, it would probably be Donkey Kong Country, which should be a sort of a vague indicator of how it's way beyond decent in the demo form anyway. I don't know why the character's wooden Sen'SeY. I don't know what wood has to do with anything. The enemy attack patterns are almost impossible to read as well. And as I don't think I mentioned actually, it really is ugly as sin. It looks like a Wii game. It looks really under-designed and it looks like some of the assets are just like library stuff. It really is a terrible looking game. But it did its job as a demo. I considered buying it for a little while. I just don't have the time to play it at the moment. But if you do, try the trial. That is definitely worth a look. It's on Wii U at the moment, and it's on PC. I'm sure the trial's on PC as well. So yeah, Wooden Sen'SeY, surprisingly good. It could be great, but I don't have the time to check it out at the moment.
Yeah, tough time of year for stuff like that.
Yeah, really. Yeah,
it does sound kind of cool.
But you've played this game a million times.
Yeah.
But there were
sounded very, very familiar.
There were little bits when I was like, it's just that I trust. After the demo, I really trust the team that the team know what they're doing.
Sure. Well, yeah. Am I ever going to play that? No, but
nope.
Fair play. Talking of games you played before, my number 7 then is Quake Live on PC, a now free-to-play version of Quake. Played with a mouse and keyboard with like high-res graphics, and a lot of fun it is too. It's very bare bones in terms of telling you exactly what's going on. I used to play Quake years ago in Guernsey where I grew up. They opened an internet cafe. I can't even remember what it was called, but it was like back in the time where those things were incredibly novel. And on a Saturday, me and people from school, only maybe 2 or 3 times it's ever happened, went down to this place and you could book it for half an hour or an hour, I can't remember, and play Quake against each other. And this was like amazing at the time. I'd never played a competitive shooter or anything like that. And I hadn't really played Quake since then, but you know what it is, super fast, blast anybody that moves. There's a bunch of new modes in this version of Quake Live involving team death matches and something where you can freeze people. I didn't really understand what was going on because it didn't explain it very well, but I just kept getting frozen and wasn't able to move. But then they've got the standard free-for-all from Quake. Run around, get new weapons, jump. I don't know if the maps in Quake Live are the same as the maps from the original Quake. I don't recognise them, but in my mind's eye, that original Quake that I played looks like, it looks like Wolfenstein, the new one, but in actual fact it's just a bunch of boxes. So this new version is just a bunch of boxes and looks as basic as this. But I mean, you can't knock it really. Fast, fun, online shooting, pedigree, and free, completely free. So nothing to complain about. I don't know how it finances itself, or I couldn't really work out. There didn't seem to be any obvious in-app purchases, or in-game purchases, or whatever you want to call it, microtransactions. Just seemed to be like a freebie. So have this, play this, see what you think. So I did. I probably won't play it again. I got absolutely hammered, but I got a few kills in, and yeah, it was good fun, and a nice change of pace from the. Like even Titanfall, which is incredibly fast, this is way, way, way faster than that. So it's kind of nice to play one that was that quick.
Okay, so it's Quake 1, not Quake 3?
As far as I'm aware, yeah. Although someone will probably tell me it's Quake 3. My knowledge is poor on Quake.
All right. Well, yeah, I mean, I think if they were going to do that with any of them, it would be the third one. But I mean, if it's Quake 1...
even that I haven't played, and I only played that briefly. I mean, that was like 14 years or something. I haven't played it for a long time, since we were at university years ago, and even then that was on the Dreamcast. So yeah, I'm no authority on Quake. Someone please correct me on Twitter about all the information of this game. I find it fun, but I don't know enough about it now. I just feel like I'm embarrassing myself.
Okay, is it browser? It's on a browser, is it?
No. It's a client that you download from Steam. It was I think it's been something that you could pay for before, but now it is free to play. So get it on Steam. I don't know if there's a Mac version or if it's just PC or Linux. No, there will be a Linux version because Steam will... I stopped talking. I don't know the facts.
Okay, well, I'll check if there's a Mac version. Maybe speak about it one day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Okay. All right, well, my number 6 is 2 games. It is Red Steel and Red Steel 2, both on the Nintendo Wii. To cut a very long story short, at the weekend, my girlfriend returned from a car boot sale with a box, a gigantic box, a box that's so huge I don't know what it was originally the packaging for. A friend of mine used to work in the biggest fruit market in the south of England, and I have been there once, and I never saw a box this big. I mean, I don't know what it's like, a nuclear weapon or something. The biggest cardboard box you've ever seen in your life. Anyway, it had around 180 Nintendo Wii games in it.
Holy shit.
And the Wii U console. I mean, it must have really killed the guy or the girl who sold it, because everything is in such perfect condition. But
yeah. How much was it?
Peanuts, I can't remember exactly. Not a great deal. I think it was a couple hundred quid or so. Right. So that's where most of our week has gone. But the last week I've just realised that the Nintendo Wii is probably my favourite console. Just because it still feels new. Everyone was so keen to abandon that console, because it was kind of had this weird reputation for being really uncool. But every time I pick up a Wiimote, I wonder why don't we still do this? This is still a well of potential, I think. You know, on the other hand, the Wii U seems exhausted already with regard to the possibilities of its controller, but just waving a Wiimote around still feels special to me. I don't know. I just think that there's still so much more that can be done. And just purely to illustrate what an amazing console the first Wii was, I've just made a little list of some of the games that came in that bundle, and they are all great. They're not just good. There are loads of other good games I could add to the list, but these are all great. So Super Mario Galaxy 1, Super Mario Galaxy 2, Batman the Brave and the Bold, which is a game that nobody's played, and I'm telling you, it's superb. It's a side-scrolling cooperative brawler, and it is absolutely superb. You can probably find it for £1, get hold of it. House of the Dead Overkill, Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, Metroid Prime Other M, cutscenes aside, fuck the haters. SimCity 2, Sin and Punishment 2, incredible. Skyward Sword, unbelievable. The Blob and The Blob 2. The Blob 2 is multi-format, but both of them are just fantastic on the Wii. Dead Space Extraction, Donkey Kong Country Returns, Excite Truck, underrated. No More Heroes, No More Heroes 2. Pandora's Tower, which no one's played and is stunning. Punch Out, the remake, amazing. Boom Blocks, Resident Evil 4 Wii Edition, the only version of Resident Evil 4. Silent Hill, Shattered Memory, Super Paper Mario. That's just some of the games that she got, and all of those, as far as I'm concerned, are absolutely amazing. But there are a million others. In it, also, there is some absolute jewels of shit. I mean, I'll talk about them in a few weeks. Games that I don't think anyone knows exist. I'll play those and speak about them in due course. But and
Red Steel.
Red Steel. Everyone knows what it is. The sort of hardcore Wii launch game. an attempt at a sort of photorealistic real-world action game because that's what people want. It's a really straightforward shooting gallery with some sort of really whack swordplay that it really honestly looks like an N64 game. On launch day, when the Wii launched, you and I and a few of our friends played it together.
Yeah,
there's like 5 of us in my flat, and I wanted to continue playing Red Steel long after everyone in that room was bored stupid, which took about 10 minutes.
I remember it being quite funny though.
It was. I mean, because it was actually quite, because it was that bad. Some of the dialogue and whatnot, but I still enjoy the game. The gunplay involves an absurd amount of precision, but I still find that kind of inviting rather than annoying. I feel myself getting better at it as I played it, and that just made me want to keep playing it. The visuals and the plot are just really dull and monotonous, and it's crazily repetitive. And as I said, legitimately, there were better looking games on the Nintendo 64. Truly, I mean, it stinks visually. It really does. But I think it's still kind of mildly exciting, just because I think the Wiimote is a marvel and it's fun to shoot things. You know, especially when you do that thing, which I'm sure you don't remember, but you press A to target a specific enemy, and then you push the Wiimote towards the screen, and you zoom in.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
It's not practical, but it certainly works. I don't know. I suppose it's also that the mistakes and the misjudgments made by launch software are always quite easy to forgive, I think. Even after launch. But anyway, you know, I still like it amazingly. Then I played Red Steel 2, and in a way it's the polar opposite of Red Steel 1, because you know they were trying to make a photorealistic game look good on the Wii, and that's just impossible. And they've gone 180 degrees, and this is the cel-shaded cowboy romp that has nothing to do with the first game. You never played it, did you?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah, I think I did. Briefly. Like, I think I got it on a cheap and played it a bit and didn't like it.
What's not to like? It's the absolute business.
I think now I know why. It's because you bullied me into buying it for about 6 months, I think, and I eventually did, and it did nothing for me. That's right.
I bet you played it for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I just said I played it for 5 minutes.
Fuck! You didn't even get past the tutorials. I mean,
I think I did. I can't remember.
That's an absolute shame. I mean, the first game kind of dipped its toes in systems that didn't really work, but the people who worked on Red Steel 2 clearly knew exactly what worked and what didn't with the Wii, and that's why it's so confident and just so enjoyable. And it really doesn't hold back. It's got a surprisingly elaborate melee combo system. The sword play is really responsive, and I bet must have paved the way for Skyward Sword, because they're kind of similar and they work as well as each other. And the shooting stuff's really fun, really sharp. Levels are structured around that hub that cuts out most of the drab corridors, which was somewhat prevalent in the first game. But it's visually striking too, even beneath the sort of Scarty fuzz of the Wii. It looks unique, and it just plays so incredibly well. I think the second one is just a truly excellent game that makes good on the promises made by its predecessor. I mean, if you thought that the first one looked too good to be true, and it was, the second one is that game. Running around the Old West, shooting and slicing people up. It's... the second one, I think, is amazing, to be honest.
I can only remember being disappointed.
You just hate the Wii.
I do. But I'm excited to hear about your 150 Wii games. I hope some of them are Mad Dog McCree.
Sadly not. I've still got Mad Dog McCree because I will never sell that. But
good.
There are some shockers. I mean, some of the stuff that in that box I don't... unbelievable. I mean, I'd quite like to dig up the last Wii game. Aren't they still making FIFA for the Wii? Is that still being made?
I honestly don't know. It wouldn't surprise me though.
Yeah, exactly.
Still so many of them out there.
Yeah, they are. That's why a game like FIFA, you think... actually, you know what? Of course they're not, because they can't have an online side because the Nintendo Wi-Fi connection or whatever the hell it's called shut down. But yeah, I'll speak about some of the shockers next week, no doubt.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Okay, I'll talk briefly then about my number 6, very briefly. It's actually Pez. The demo's out in the UK now after the shocking press release that it was going to be out in the UK last week, and then subsequent delay the day of. Don't know what that was all about, but it's the exact same demo. I downloaded it on Xbox One just for comparison purposes. Yeah, exact same demo, apart from the fact that the A button is now confirm instead of the B button, which is how they do it in Asia. I will say, I mean, I obviously really enjoy the game. I'll talk about another football game later, but this one, I'm very, very excited for the final version. Plays a lovely game of possession football. Every single match has its own personality. All classic PES stuff, but really feels like it's back in its groove properly this time. 14 is a game that I love as well, despite a lot of people not liking it, but this is it's going to be a way more palatable and easier game for people to get involved with because it's so much more responsive. I will say though that the Xbox One version does seem to be running at a lower resolution than the PS4 version that I've been playing. Everything looks a little bit jaggier. Whether that's true or not, I'm sure Mr. Digital Foundry will end up telling us at some point, but it just seemed like that to my naked eye. But I mean, it played exactly the same, so no worries. Just make sure, do check it out though. If you're on the fence, if you're on the footballing fence this year, do check out the Provo demo. You probably have to search for it because all of the storefronts are going to be FIFA'd up. So you're going to have to go to the search parts of whatever console you're getting it for. It's also on old gen consoles. I haven't played that.
Yeah, I saw it on 360 today. I was going to download it just to compare, but yeah, definitely check out the demo. I haven't played it again, but I'm going to wait now. But yeah, check it out.
Do.
Okay, my number 5 is a game called Donkey Kong Jet Race on the Nintendo Wii. Yeah, I mean, it's also known as Donkey Kong Barrel Blast apparently, and it it bypassed me. It must have come out really late in the Wii's life. Because when I saw it, don't think I'd seen the box art before. I was like, oh, okay, well. It's strange to think that I may have blanked it out of my mind. And having played it, I've realised that was an incredibly smart decision, if that's what happened. Because it's a game that I suspect was once upon a time going to utilise those GameCube bongo drums from Donkey Konga, like that wicked platformer Jungle Beat, was it?
Yeah, Jungle Beat.
Yeah. Sadly, this is just a really tepid Mario Kart clone, and the reason it's my number 5 is because aspects of it are so poor that I just had to keep playing it. I could not believe that this was a Nintendo product. It's a racing game that's basically on rails. You whack the Wiimote and nunchuck up and down in order to get up to full speed, and then you can whack either the Wiimote or the nunchuck to make a pigeon step to the left or to the right. If you whack them both at once, when you are already travelling at full speed, you will do a jump. What first flummoxed me is that I couldn't even crack the top 5 in the first few races I had. I was blazing it around the tracks at full speed, not hitting any obstacles, getting speed boost and nothing. It's a game in which it is impossible to utilise skill to win. I came first once eventually, but I came third once, I came fifth once, sixth. It's just completely at random. It seems to be very much a product of the same school of thought that thought that Mario Kart Wii. You know, Mario Kart Wii seemed to believe that skill-based victories were offensive. So this is in that tradition. And it's unbelievably bad. It looks like shit. The tracks are all really long and really tedious. The weapons are boring. They're just restyled versions of Mario Kart weapons. And it's just to play it is to be annoyed. If I'm going to be asked to flail my arms about constantly, it better be for a rhythm action game. I'll play Donkey Konga or Jungle Beat, but this, it's amazingly poor. Few people will ever play it now. It's in the history, it's in the bin of history, and everyone should count themselves lucky. I've never known a Nintendo game like it. The most amazing stumble. I can't believe that they released it. That it's the first time it's been like the Nintendo seal of approval means nothing.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. I can't work out whether I've never heard of this or whether I've played it. That's how bad my memory has become.
Same here, yeah.
I feel like I might have played it over the years in an office somewhere, but you may have just implanted memories into my mind like Inception, and it was never real in the first place. I think tip myself backwards off my chair.
I think it came out. It must have come out very late in the day because I saw the box. I was like, I'm sure I've never played that before, but maybe I just blanked it. I don't know. It's really weird. It's a staggeringly poor game.
What's it called again?
Well, I think on the box we've got it's Donkey Kong Jet Race, but when I searched for it earlier, it was called Donkey Kong Barrel Blast, so I assume that's what it's called in the States. But I've never played a Nintendo game that's that bad.
And it's first party, is it?
If it's not first, it's second party. Actually, I didn't check who actually developed it. It's like, those really unbelievably poor Mario Kart rip-off kart races. It's one of those.
Yeah.
and as bad as the shittest ones. And you can't even drive, and it's basically on rails, and you're waving your arms around. I mean, it's really quite. I mean, I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
Why someone didn't just fucking can it? It would have been better just to. They should have just thrown it out, chucked it.
Damn. Yeah, well, yeah, it's a mystery to me.
Yeah, rubbish.
All right then, where are we? 5s?
That was my 5, yeah.
Cool. My number 5 is Resogun. In fact, Resogun Heroes, the downloadable add-on expansion, whatever you want to call it, which I'd forgotten existed, and then I stumbled across on the PSN store today, in fact. It's difficult because I like Resogun a lot. That was my favourite, the PlayStation launch games. It's one of my favourite twin-stick shooters. Really, really enjoyed playing it. Got quite good at it and meant to keep getting better at it, to be honest, but then kind of forgot it existed. It was all the way over to the right on my PS4. You know how the UI works on that thing. So yeah, this add-on pack came out, and when you're going to pay £4 for an add-on pack for a small game anyway, you're probably expecting quite a lot of content. It came with an update, which is a free update from before, where you can edit your own ships and all that stuff, which is kind of cool. But this also feels like it kind of probably should have been a free update, and that sounds cheeky to ask for stuff for free, especially considering the game was technically free anyway on PS Plus. But it's a very slender, not Slender Man, but just a slender update with 2 new modes, one of which is called Survival, which is, it's a survival mode, basically.
Yeah.
Against the clock, get the power ups. Humans come down on little parachutes. I mean, it's well designed. It's not just been thrown together. It's been specifically made, and it is cool. And the other mode is called Demolition, where instead of bullets, you just have the ability to fire like almost a smart bomb, basically, but it has a limited area of effect. And you have to wait for it to recharge. And you basically, it's kind of almost in a weird way like Burnout's Crash mode, but. It's all about chaining together explosions as much as you can, but instead of just doing a one and done like you do on Crash mode, you keep playing. It's also a survival mode in some ways. So some of the enemies will fly at you, and you have to kind of dodge them, wait for your thing to recharge, and blow them up at the right time. You can send these, the equivalent of barrels, kind of bouncing around the level, which will blow things up. That's a really cool mode. There's no doubt that's a very, very cool mode. Really like it. I'm definitely going to play some more of it. Is it worth £4? No, definitely not. Apparently there's another level. I don't know if that just means it's another background where these modes take place. I'm kind of thinking there are, because I couldn't find it anywhere else in the game. It did lead me to have another normal game on Resogun, though, and that was fun because I haven't played it for ages, and I still really like it. I know it never really gelled for you, but really did do something for me. The kind of boosting through all the enemies and all about maintaining that multiplier more than anything else. For me, definitely Housemarque's best game. But that pack it just feels a bit slight for £4.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like Resogun enough to shell out £4. Anyway, so I mean, it's that's a shame if it's that slight. Did PS Plus ever? It's part of the PS Plus package ever DLC? They don't give away chunks of DLC for free, do they? I suppose they can't because what if you don't have the game?
Yeah, I don't think so. No.
Okay, well, I'll never play that because Resogun's okay. I like a very different kind of shooter for some.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, it is a shooter, but it almost isn't in some ways. It's like quite a different sort of thing.
Yeah.
Really.
All right. Yeah, I just don't understand why, but it didn't click. Okay, my number 4 is a shooter that did click. It is Ghost Squad on the Nintendo Wii.
That's the mustard.
Yeah, I'm not going to say much about this because I feel like I've said all that there is to say about this game over the years. It is the Sistine Chapel of light gun games. It is a 10 out of 10 game. Never before has a home console sort of shooting gallery light gun game, whatever the hell you want to call it, been more engaging, functional and cleverly constructed than this one. It's one of the best games on the Nintendo Wii and remains a superb advertisement for that console. If you have a Wii U, take advantage of the backwards compatibility. I mean, I rebought this a couple of years ago on eBay for £1, and it's worth at least 40 times that, even today. At least, as far as I am concerned. It's a reminder of how good the Wiimote technology is. It's just it's also a stunning co-op game, and it's so smartly designed. There are branching pathways in it. Everything that isn't gunplay can be skipped instantly skipped, and the whole damn thing is over in about 15 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
But you can complete it in almost no time, but you won't want to stop replaying it because there are different paths. Like I said, there are unlockable weapons, ridiculous costumes and modes that turn the game into a million different things. Unfortunately, because the Nintendo Internet Zone, or whatever the hell the Wii's Online was called, is now gone offline. There are no leaderboards, which is a real shame.
That's a shame.
Yeah, so I mean, not having leaderboards is a bit of a wounder, but it doesn't really matter. If you've never played Ghost Squad on the Wii, find it, buy it, and then start lobbying for a sequel ASAP.
I've just looked as you've been talking about it, and you can get it on eBay for like under £2.
Yeah, if you have a Wii U and a Wii remote, it's ridiculous.
Do you still have one of those plastic gun setups? That's how I played it. It was like you slot the Wii remote into it.
The Zapper?
Yeah, but I had like a knockoff one.
No, I haven't still got one. No, the Link's crossbow.
So it didn't matter that you didn't have that.
No, not at all. You just play with the Wiimote. I think I've only ever played Ghost Squad like that.
Oh, okay.
It's a joke of a game. It really is an incredible game, and everyone should play it.
Yeah, I mean, I've had it a couple of times. I think I don't think I have it anymore. That's which I regret, to be honest, because it is a cracker. More than a cracker, yeah.
No one has ever taken an arcade light gun game and made it work that well at home. It really is.
Yeah, well, I'd argue without a giant, inexpensive light gun.
But even then, did they ever work as well as that? Which ones are you thinking of?
The House of the Dead 2 on the Dreamcast was incredible.
Yeah, it was alright.
It was incredible.
It was.
But then it's Sega light gun games. I mean, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they do. And House of the Dead Overkill.
Do you remember Confidential Mission? That was the business.
That was kind of similar to Ghost Squad as well.
Yeah.
I think almost certainly people worked on both because there are definitely elements of both in that. But I've never known a game of this kind to be this well made.
I would be absolutely delighted if I pulled open my games drawer and Ghost Squad was sitting there at the back and I'd never got rid of it because I'm well up for a session on that right now.
Yeah, and it doesn't even take long. You can play through the thing from beginning to end in like a quarter of an hour.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just pure gleam, and everything that needs to be skipped, you can just boom, 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 you race through it. And then you're like, again. Oh, it's so good. It's so good, it's a joke, Ghost Squad.
How does it look these days? A bit sketchy now.
It doesn't really make any difference. I mean, it doesn't look great, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, I might try and get one of those phony cables that kind of upscale it a little. What do they do? Didn't you get one of those?
Yeah. Were you actually playing it on a Wii?
Yeah, I mean it was one of the games that came in this package.
Oh, the composite cable.
Yeah, maybe I'll buy one of those.
I've got one of those. You can just have mine.
Oh, all right, that works.
Yeah, not that I've got any way of giving it to you apart from posting it, but
that won't happen.
Yeah, so it was a nice idea, though, wasn't it?
It was indeed. Yeah. Good for you. Everyone buy.
You can have it. I just, whether that happened or not, I don't know.
All right, maybe I'll come down and collect it.
All right. Ghost Squad.
Hell of a game.
A different type of Ghost Squad then for my number 4. I've been playing some more PT.
Yikes.
Yeah, yikes is the word. I was playing, what was I playing? Road Not Taken, and I thought, fuck this, I'm going to play something more pleasant and put on PT.
Yikes.
And the first cycle I had back through the corridor involved what I've been told is the most vicious scare of the entire experience. I put it on confidently because before I played it with the headphones on, with the lights off, like too much I'd just come back from Gamescom. I was exhausted, wiped, drained. I wasn't feeling very well. This is like, I feel okay. Going to play it in a more hospitable atmosphere. By the time I got through that first corridor cycle, which was a matter of under 20 seconds, I'm not exaggerating. I'm really not. I had a sweat on. I felt ill. I had a full adrenaline burst through my body. I put the controller down. I managed to put it on, to unpause it and go through another couple of corridor cycles, and I just thought, I cannot believe how good it is. I mean, it's unbearable. I find it unbearable. I'm desperate to see the rest of the game because I think it's just so marvellously constructed, but I just can't face it. I can't face that radio talking to me. I can't face seeing my own shadow up against the wall, and it's the shadow of like a stumbling fucking zombie or something like that, which I'd never noticed before. But I mean, it's just the amount of tricks and techniques it uses and almost creates in some cases. It's just mind-blowing. For a free demo,
yeah,
And then the trailer for the actual game came out, and it's way more intense. I'm sure it's just because it's a trailer, but I don't. How could I possibly play that?
Yeah.
I mean, what? I don't think physically I could play this game. And I'm, as I've said many times, a huge fan of Silent Hill. I'm going to play The Evil Within. I'm going to play. There's another horror game coming out. Oh, Alien. Alien Isolation. I'm going to play both of those, and they're going to kick my ass, but I'm happy to. It's not that I can't handle horror games, because I can, and I've loved them over the years. But there's something about that just fucks me up, and I know that's because it's horrendous for everybody. But other people have got through it. I just don't know if I can. I can't even. The thought of putting it back on just fucks me up.
Yeah, no, I'm the same. I mean, I have no desire to play it again. At the same time as thinking that it's an incredible piece of software. I mean, really, just unbelievably good, unbelievably well made. But I don't want to. It is just overwhelmingly unpleasant. I suppose the only way I could get through it. A lot of people I know have completed it. They had to sort of disassociate themselves and just see it as a construct. Like when I was a kid, when I was petrified of Freddy Krueger, I'd always used to just I had to think about the image of an actor wearing a costume, and that just made it all right. And it's the same. You know, you have to just. You know.
I was trying to do that. That's why I basically went into it this time with that in mind, just to think of it exactly as you said. I think I even used that word in my head. Yeah. But that's and kind of doubled up with the circumstances of having the lights on and whatnot, and it just got me straight away, almost as soon as I went through the door. But then as soon as that happened, like there's not that many jump scares in PT, but it was one of them, and it was just so fucking unpleasant. And then just like you don't know if that's going to happen again, and then the raid. Yeah. I want to see the rest of it. I do. I really do. But will I? I don't know. I think I'd have to be drunk.
Well, a drunken room full of people, that'll do it.
Yeah. But then again, am I just ruining it doing that?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
I mean, it's incredibly effective, and yet my girlfriend can sit there and play it like it's Mario. It's really, really irritating.
What?
Yeah, it's weird.
It's something else.
Yeah.
If I made my wife play it, I'm not joking. She would never be the same again. It would disturb her to the point where I don't think she'd be the same person afterwards.
Yeah, it's not a very nice game.
It's fucking not.
But it's stunning. I hope the game is not completely like that, because it's exhausting more than anything.
Yeah. There's something. Is the game going to? I mean, we don't know, but I assume now the game's going to be in first person, which is just more horrendous. I think because they've always been third person, haven't they?
Oh, have they actually announced that the whole thing's going to be in first person?
No, but the trailer's all first person, isn't it? Have you seen that trailer?
No, I don't. No, I try. These days I don't.
It's a CG teaser. It's not a real trailer.
Oh, okay.
But it's sort of an incredibly horrendous collection of images for about 45 seconds, culminating to something ridiculous that, if it happens to me in a game, I'm just never ever going to be able to cope with. It's like the worst thing that ever happened in the TV show Nightmare, which ruined me for about 2 years, mixed with an image that I could never even conjure up. The trailer did scare me, but the thought of that, me playing that game does.
Nothing terrible happened in Nightmare ever.
Do you ever remember there's that one monster that was like a skeleton mixed with a spider that would come down the corridor really fast at you?
Oh, yeah.
Got really far into it.
Yeah.
First time I saw that, I was way too young. And it really, that did me some damage, permanent damage.
Yikes. Okay, all right. Well, yeah, PT. You should play that, because it's a masterpiece, and it's horrible.
Just make sure your kids can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, lock it off or something.
Maybe.
Especially as the image is like a sort of garden, and it looks like it might be another flower or something. The
brilliance of that game is even that image of the grass looks horrendous.
Yeah.
There's this sort of an impending darkness or something. Looking at that picture, I'm like, I don't like that image. Yeah. It's only some grass, but it's a horrible picture. It's something that they've perfected with the lighting more than anything, because everything just looks so real and just get me out of this corridor. Oh, yeah.
It's not a dissimilar corridor to my own corridor in my house as well.
Nice one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice one.
I don't even want to look at my PS4.
Okay. Well, yeah. All right, then on to something a bit lighter. My number 3 is a game called CastleStorm Definitive Edition on the Xbox One. This is a game made by Zen Studios, who are best known for Zen Pinball, Pinball FX, and who I spoke last week about Kickbeat, which was their passable stab at a rhythm action game. That Kickbeat, despite being thoroughly okay, it kind of felt like that team were way out of their depth just in terms of understanding that genre. But this is pretty stunning. It's a kind of tower defense stroke beat 'em up stroke sort of Angry Birds riff that first came out last year, and it bypassed me completely, even though it's available in almost every format under the sun. Did you play this?
No, not at all. No.
Okay. There is a story to it. There are characters and whatnot, but every second they're on screen, there's a big panel on the top left saying skip. And that is very good advice, because the story stuff's not terrible by any means, but it's a million miles beyond pointless, and it's nice to know that its creators realised that. Although at first I was kind of like, why don't they just get the story, delete it altogether, bin it. But I should probably stop berating games when they have superfluous stories like this, because this is a game for children, and it's probably a very effective way of getting them involved. So I guess I should instead be massively thankful that all of it can be skipped if you want, which comes in very handy. At first, the game is very simple. You only need 3 controls. You've got both thumbstick. One of the thumbsticks sort of aims your castle's ballista, and the other one moves the camera around, and then there's a fire button. You use the bumpers to move between, switch between projectiles, and pressing X spawns troops. But the core of it is so simple. It's clearly been primed for younger children. As it goes on, though, you're taught how to draw your bow in the battlefield and how to shield yourself, shield your troops. And you start using spells and stuff. It expands fairly quickly, but it's done at a very, very measured pace. It just feels tuned, really well tuned. It shouldn't intimidate anybody who plays it. There's also a sort of kind of brutal star rating system, but that's never used to block your access to content. It's just there to give you something to improve on if you want to go back to it. That's absolutely as it should be. You don't have to go and try and get a certain number of stars before you can carry on the game. Which is a mistake that way too many games make these days. And it's inviting, it's very clever, it's compelling, and it's structured very gracefully, so nobody would be left out. It's really terrific. Honestly, I don't think this version is out yet. It might be out tomorrow. Right. I played on Xbox One. It's also coming to PS4 and probably all of the other formats again. It's got extra content. The original CastleStorm is obviously still available, but the definitive edition has a load of extra content, including there's 20 new campaign modes, and there's some more levels, and there's some additional extra stuff. It's really, really very, very good indeed. If you go this is a game that a lot of people play. It's even on iOS, it's on PC, it's on 360, it's on every console. And yeah, I'm sure it's sold healthily across all of them because it's genuinely pretty terrific. There is one thing though, in a game that's just, it is a game of good judgment and good taste. There's one terrible error, and that's that you have to fight these donkeys. You have these enemies who ride in on donkeys, and when you kill them, the noise that they make is horrifying. These terrible pained yelps in this cartoonish little, family-friendly game about knights, etc., etc. It's horrible. The sound of those donkeys dying is just terrible. But yeah, that weird thing aside, this is really terrific. Unexpectedly, fantastic. I absolutely loved it.
I was going to think about downloading it for my boy until you said that. I don't think he needs to hear donkeys dying until he's a bit older. It's
such a good game, though. I mean, really, it's. I mean, you should probably. I mean, I'm sure does the Xbox One even do trials now? I mean, I know the Microsoft ones. You can have actually, of course, FIFA, etc., etc. But hopefully you can try this before buying it, because I can't imagine anyone not enjoying it. I'm not a massive tower defense fan. But this is fantastically enjoyable, and it's got an online, it's got leaderboards, it's got the lot. It's really, really impressive.
Yeah, it does sound alright. You have to remind me about that one, because I'll forget about it.
It'll probably be everywhere because it's on every format, and I'm pretty sure it's out tomorrow or Friday. So PS4 and every other console, I'm pretty sure. Vita, it's on Vita even. It's on everything.
Okay. Remind me in a few weeks because I've forgotten.
All
right, my number 3 is a game called Race Team Manager on iOS. This is another game that's done very, very well in this time, a short space of time. This is a game that I played an early version of a while ago, and it's out now. And it is essentially New Star Soccer, but with cars. It's exactly what it is, in fact. You play as the manager of a race team, but in the broadest and most basic sense possible. Basically, you hire a driver, but you also are the driver. Later on, you can also like hire mechanics and stuff like that. But it works in exactly the same way as in New Star Soccer, where you just like have a girlfriend and things like that. Oh, you haven't played New Star Soccer, have you?
I have. Yeah, no, I had to abandon it because it just got its teeth right in. Yeah.
So all this stuff's super basic. But basically, how it works, instead of you racing an entire race on your phone, like other games do successfully, real racing and CTR and stuff like that. This instead simulates most of the boring stuff of a race in text commentary, New Star Soccer / Football Manager style. And then when it comes to the exciting bits like overtaking or slipstreaming or trying to block someone off or avoiding a crash, then you get a chance to play a quick mini game on your phone. It might be so you can take a corner and it involves you tilting it. You use little gestures on the screen to slipstream or slip out of a crash or something like that. Those bits look great. I mean, they look like a sort of high def console game, not a next gen console game, but you know they look really, really nice.
Yeah.
And it's just a really, really smart, clever, and perfectly fitting mobile game. It is a free-to-play game, but it doesn't badger you with adverts. It has a nice gradual curve where you start to feel, well, after about maybe, you know, a good chunk of the game, an hour or so, a bit longer, that you're getting to the point where you can grind or maybe pay a little bit of money to help out. Nothing too egregious. You could quite easily play for free for a long, long time and never feel too bad about it. And as a concept, it's just a really strong idea. It is New Star Soccer, but with cars. But I mean, New Star Soccer itself is a fairly original idea. The iPhone version, anyway, you know, the mobile version, and transposing that to motorsport it's a really good fit, and it has the kind of off-pitch, off-track stuff with the management of teams and sort of balancing everybody's. What's the word I'm looking for? Like the relationships with them, making sure you're going to do this, and you might piss off these people, or stuff like that. Just a really good idea. I think it's made by people who worked on like Split Second and things like that. So it's a British game. It's done stormingly well already. I think it's like you can tell by it's like been out a week and it's already got like 7,000 reviews and stuff like that. And I think they've already got over 1 million downloads, or maybe well over that. I don't know. It's done really, really well in a short space of time, but you can see why. It's like high production values, perfect fit for mobile, really good concept. I'd highly recommend it. You know me, I don't know. I wouldn't know the first thing about a game typically called Race Team Manager, and I wouldn't care. But this isn't. It's called that, but it's more. Think New Star Car Racer, New Star Driver, and you're in business.
It has nothing to do with the guy who made New Star
Nothing
Soccer.
No, and it doesn't. It's not like it's ripping off the fonts or anything like that, and it doesn't actually play like that because it plays the bits where you're playing the racing for the most part, apart from the gesture stuff, plus play like a normal phone racer. But it's like when you're doing the text commentary, you can choose whether or not to really push it, but that drains more fuel. And when you have to pit, you have to do a mini game where you have to quickly tap the screws. You know, they try and do the pit stops as quickly as possible in racing. That's quite good fun, and it keeps a running time of how your quickest ever one of those and stuff like that. Just a fucking good piece of software. That's it really. People will like this game, I can guarantee that.
Is it as horrendously addictive as New Star Soccer?
I don't think it's as addictive as New Star Soccer because it doesn't quite. It's winning the race is fun, but it's not quite as satisfying as winning a match because you scored the 2 goals that matter. Like, and it might just be the case that I love football and don't really have any interest in motor racing outside of a few video games. So that might be it as well. But it's not. No, it's not from what I played, but still very, very good. People will like this game that listen to this podcast.
Okay, cool. Recommendation. What was it called?
Race Team Manager. Slightly dry name, but a game with a fair amount of personality and just a real good concept. The second I saw the trailer, I was like, bang, New Star Soccer with cars. Good idea. I'm in. And that's exactly what it is.
Wicked. Okay, well, I'll check that out.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it.
Good. Cool. I've been looking. I've got a new phone, so I've been looking for stuff to play on it.
Have you got the giant one or the slightly less giant one?
My girlfriend has the giant one. I have the less giant one.
I like the giant one.
The giant one's handy. I looked at my old phone today and I was like, God, it's only a slight difference, but my previous phone just looks like a bloody watch or something. It just looks like the smallest thing.
Yeah, I mean, I played this game on my wife's iPhone 4S or whatever it is, or even 5. I think there's an iPhone 5, and it feels like it's almost impossible to use just because I got the giant Samsung thing now. So I'd struggle to go back to a small phone now, I think.
Yeah.
But that's enough about blowers.
Yes, enough about blowers. Okay, all right, well, I suspect, I think that our number 2s are the same.
I believe they are, if that means that they're Destiny.
Destiny, yes.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Would you like to go? Or I think I've gone first, but I went first before, so it's time for you to go first.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've played a heck of a lot more. More than anything, I'm absolutely loving the public events. They're just a source of so much hilarious drama. Do you know how many players they allow at one time?
I don't, but I've had a fair few in a few of them.
Yeah, we did a couple the other day, and each one felt like there were 10 or 12 people there.
I think there can be definitely 10.
So because it was rock hard, and we kept getting saved at the last minute by these level 28s that were buzzing around on those weaponized bikes.
Oh yeah,
it was just hysterical. That run of games we had was just those are so much fun. The public events. But the whole thing, the package, I'm loving it to pieces still. But it is worth pointing out again just how much faffing around is involved, because you have to be cool with that side of it. On Monday afternoon, I think I had a half-hour window where I was free, so I just jumped on, and a couple of my friends were on, and we spent the entire time on the tower, chatting and upgrading equipment and buying equipment and deciding on bounties to go after collectively and whatnot. And we never shot a thing. I didn't fire a bullet, but that didn't feel like wasted time. So you have to be up for that. I think when people are saying, "Oh, it's disappointing, it's not the greatest thing ever," you have to be as into that side of the game as the gunplay, because they both complement each other so well. I mean, this is a game that's made to be played over a year or longer. If you start worrying about completion or closure of some kind, you will end up loathing the grind. I mean, some people are really clearly very upset about the fact that loot isn't very prevalent. But that legendary kit is basically inessential, really, and comes as a nice surprise when you aren't constantly waiting for it to show up. So yeah, this is a long-term thing. It's not going anywhere for me. Other games are going to come and go, but if someone asked me in a year's time or in 18 months' time, do you fancy a bit of Destiny? I'm just like, yes, definitely. And that's because nothing is going to take this game's place. Nothing else is going to offer what this does. Studios have tried to rip off Bungie's combat since the first Halo, and it's never worked. It's not like there's going to be a Destiny 2 to take this game's place. It has its own unique thing to offer, and I'm still loving it, and it's going to be in my collection for quite some time. I'll say, and some of the backlash is just it's bollocks. And one of my friends said something the other day, and let's just say that I forcefully corrected him, I suppose I'd say, because just out of the blue he started just lambasting the fact that there was just a massive lack of content, and we've done these missions 10 times, and why didn't this game launch with more content? And I said, A, the missions feel quite different each time we do them, with the modifiers and whatnot, and B, you are one of 2 people I know who took an entire week off work just to play this thing, and after over 100 hours you feel like you're unsatisfied with the content, and you're an idiot. But yeah, I don't know, there seems to be such a misunderstanding about what Destiny is, and I think I'm taking it the way it's meant to be taken. I may be wrong, but this feels like something that you're supposed to stick with, rather than, I mean, if you try and blast through it and you want to trade it in or go and it's not that kind of game. It's built to last.
I totally agree with that. I still haven't finished the story. Myself and Dave, who Dave Turner's people who listen to the podcast well, and Joy Porter will obviously know who he is, have been playing the story together. We're on Mars now, but been going back through it with another mate, Matt. Doing some of the missions, the low-level missions, on the hard difficulty setting. I know you and I have had our confusion over the difficulty settings, but trust me, they're there. But yeah, we and Matt and I had this sort of almost like revelatory experience on one of the early levels, which I'd done on the beta and again when playing through. So this was like the third or fourth time I'd done this level. It's the last one on Earth where you have to go and, unsurprisingly, stick Dinklage in a hole and then baddies come. But it's the one where the Hive come through. You're like it looks like a hangar. Then you look out of the hangar and the Hive all teleport in their ships and basically charge you.
Oh yeah, right.
And that on hard at the level we were was rock hard, but because there was only two of us as well. But it was also, it always felt possible. That was the beauty of it. As hard as it always felt if we were as sharp as we can be and our communication was good enough and we were as tactically astute as we could be, then we were going to be able to do it. And we died and we died and we died and we died and we died. But for some reason, we just both kept picking up and playing again. Most games I would never bother to restart that many times. I'd just sack it off after a couple of goes, even great games. Yeah. But there was something about this that just compelled us to keep going. And eventually, it did actually involve us saying, okay, we're done. After dying after the 10th time or whatever it was, we're done, pack it up, nice playing, see you in the morning. And then as we were saying our goodbyes, I was shooting baddies, and then I looked across and his character was shooting baddies. And without saying a word to each other, we just kept playing. And then about a minute later, we'd both kind of verbally agreed to continue. And that time, maybe because the pressure was off slightly, I don't know, but we absolutely battered the level. It was still at a level of intensity that so few games can ever manage to maintain. That's one of the things that Bungie's combat does at the highest levels. It maintains a level of intensity for long periods of time that is almost physically exhausting. People always say about games, it's like the classic games criticism cliche. It's like heart pounding, adrenaline pumping, when in actual fact, none of those things are happening. But in this game, when it is that intense, you do feel almost drained by the end of it, and it's almost probably unhealthy to play it at that level for too long. Because of what it's doing to your insides, but make no mistake, this had after that, and bear in mind, like I said, this is the fourth time I played this level, ending up being like the 20th time I played the level because the amount of times we restarted it. An early level, replaying with an early character, haven't even unlocked all the stuff. And what it had me saying is, as I tried to calm down and not just see numbers when I shut my eyes when I went to bed, was saying, this might be Bungie's best game. And I've not even finished the story yet. I've still not done half the strikes. I've not done the harder strikes in the strike playlist. I've certainly not done the raid. There's DLC to come, which I'm happy to pay for. I'm still not at level 20, let alone pushing past that. Like you say, this is a game that feels like it's built to last. It feels like it's there if people want to blast it and put hours and hours and hours and hours and hours into it. It's still going to keep giving those players what they want, but also for people who don't have as much time, like me, and the people I'm playing with who are more, in terms of hours per week, I would class us as casual. I certainly wouldn't class us in that way in terms of, taste or the types of games that we want to play, but just in terms of purely man hours, it's not like it used to be. Yet it seems it completely covers what we want out of it as well. So I love it. I can't imagine sticking. I was going to interrupt myself. I can't imagine sticking a review score on it after a day. I know some you don't know the pressures of editors and managing editors and publishers and all this sort of stuff when it comes to these sorts of things. So you can't exactly go and just blame individual reviewers. But I think the way Eurogamer did it was probably the best. A bit of coverage here and there, well, quite a lot throughout the time, and then after a couple of weeks doing as much as they can, and then putting a score on it, and then continuing to do coverage afterwards. I don't think, because eventually you do have to stick a score on it if you're a review site. But yeah. I could talk about the game for ages. I'll probably I'm at Eurogamer, and I'm sure going to spend some time over the next couple of days seeing people in real life, and I'm sure I'll be bleating about this game, unfortunately, so apologies to everybody.
I mean, it's we've said everything there is to say almost. I mean, at the same time, we could talk. Well, I could talk about it all day as well. But I mean, the thing that really strikes me about it is that all of my friends they work. They don't have a massive amount of money to spend on games, so their routine is get a game, smash the hell out of it, and then go and part exchange it for something else. Sure. This is not that. This is not a game in which to do that. And some of the frustration that I've seen among people who don't understand what the fuss is about seems to be that the end game is not really the end. And it is a game that's supposed to become a part of the furniture. I'm going to I'm pretty sure this is just going to be around. I'm kind of annoyed that I've got a disc because it's one of those games that I just want on my hard drive. So that
it's funny you should say that because I'm looking at my right next to where I record the podcast is where my kind of office gaming setup is, and Destiny's currently out of my PS4 in a jewel case, and I'm looking at it just going, I wish that was just fucking on there so I don't have to take it out every time Elliot wants to play Knack, because eventually I'm gonna catch him and he's gonna be snapping it into the drive or something, trying to get it out at some point. I know that's going to happen. Yeah. Maybe I should have bought it digital, but then it's so much more expensive. Yeah. Well, it just needs to sort itself out.
Yeah, it does, but they have to. They can't challenge retail.
No, that's the problem. Totally.
I do wish there was some way you could walk into a shop and say, "Look, I want to just give you this disc, and you can do whatever you want with it, and I want to swap it for a code." There should be a way to do that.
Yeah.
So I just this game that Titanfall's another one. There are games that I have on disc. I just want this on a download. The problem is you can't. Sorry,
the old Xbox One way of doing it would have actually been pretty good, wouldn't it?
Yeah. That's the terrible truth about that. That console. Because I think they were trying to step away from, in the way that PC gaming, you go into a game, there's a branch of game, there's never any PC games in there because there's no point because Steam undercuts everything.
Yeah.
And I think they were trying to sort of, I don't know, there's no point in speculating.
Yeah, I think so.
But I think they were trying to move away from that world, and that would probably have been the best for gamers in the long run. But what the fuck does anybody know? Go play Destiny, it's good.
Yeah. People seem to love it, which is good as well. A lot of people, just most people seem to love it now.
Yeah, and so they should.
Long may it continue.
Yes. Yeah, true that.
Will I ever get to the raid? I don't know. Level 26.
I will definitely get there. It's never. It sounds unfeasibly difficult.
Yeah.
And you have to have done it in a week. You can save it, but they reset them every Tuesday or something.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't know. I like to think.
Yeah, maybe they might lenientize that out at some point.
You can access them below 26, can't you?
I believe so. I mean, maybe not well below 26, but yeah, I've read you can try it at any level, but we do not recommend below 26. But it's like, that's a bitch to get to, isn't it? 26.
I don't know. Well, I suppose it is. My friends have got to 26, but they are the people that I spoke about.
Yeah, but 100 hours. I'm on 14.
But yeah, this is it's a marathon, not a sprint. So
well, exactly. If it's still there, it will be, won't it, in 6 months' time?
And that's the other thing. My friends were so aware they were going to love it. They've all got it installed on their hard drives anyway, so they're always going to have it.
Oh, they do. They did go digital.
Yeah, it's for the first time. Those two friends, Zeno and Joe, they will not buy. I've recommended a million games that were download only. Far Cry, Blood Dragon, Call of Warriors, Gunslinger, loads of games. I'm like, you've got to play the game. They refuse because they are, like I said, people who go and part exchange everything to sort of try and get some money out of their old games. But they both bought that digitally, the stupid edition that was like 90 quid or whatever it was.
Is that with the DLC that's coming?
All the DLC, upcoming DLC, yeah. So yeah, I'll always have people to play with, which is nice to know.
Yeah, it does seem like it's that way for me as well. There's always plenty of people on PSN, which is great.
Good.
Awesome. Destiny. I want to play it now.
Yeah, me too. But I also want to play my number one, which is Hyrule Warriors on the Nintendo Wii U.
That's what it's going to be.
Yeah. Like many a Wii U game, there's no real reason, aside obviously from the license, for it to be on the Wii U. It's a game that could work on any console, aside from a couple of cool features which I'll talk about in a minute, but it's a little bit disappointing that the game doesn't really use the console's more unique features. But, it doesn't tarnish the gameplay because this really is excellent, unexpectedly. I'm not a fan of Dynasty Warriors. I've played several of them, and this is just Dynasty Warriors and Hyrule. But I pretty much adored it. I guess it can only be the aesthetics. I mean, because by all accounts, the formula of that franchise has not been messed with very much here. It's still Dynasty Warriors. I've literally no idea why I found this so appealing when I've never enjoyed a Dynasty Warriors game before. But I'm going to continue playing it, so perhaps that'll come to me eventually, because at the moment it's a real mystery. I don't know why I got so into this, but Well, first off, the one thing I can definitely say in the negative is that you can tell that this isn't a first-party Nintendo game because it's occasionally very, very scrappy visually, and it doesn't explain itself brilliantly. Like all of the Dynasty Warriors games, it kind of assumes a bit too much prior knowledge. You can figure it out very easily because it's not complex. I mean, you run between areas walloping the ever-loving shit out of people and then capturing locations in doing so. That's the game, essentially. In relation to it being on the Wii U, I can't remember what game I was talking about a few months ago, but I was kind of mystified by the fact that it had split-screen co-op in it. And one of the coolest things about the Wii U is that it comes with another screen.
Yeah.
And incidentally, that's one of the best things about the Call of Duty games on the Wii U. You can play them online as a twosome. And yeah, you can do that here too. It's got full campaign co-op. One of you on the controller, one of you on the TV.
That's cool.
It works terrifically well. Admittedly, the visuals can get so grubby that the person using the controller is at a bit of a disadvantage, but it just makes the game even more appealing than it is already. And perfect for Dynasty Warriors, because when you have two people, you can split up when you have more than one thing to do.
Yeah, sure.
In addition to the campaign mode, which pretty much offers what you'd expect, the real centerpiece of it is adventure mode, where you move around this space that's kind of sectioned off into panels, and you control this sort of NES-style Link avatar, and you're walking around like the NES game. And you complete loads of short mini missions, and some of them involve time constraints. You know, kill X amount of enemies before the time runs out, or kill a boss. You know, etc., etc. Use only certain moves. You know. And not only are they really fun, everything you do, everything you earn while you're playing them transfers. You can transfer to your character in the campaign. So having a quick blast on those before doing a campaign level on hard, for example, is a really good idea. The game's terrific, but on the negative side again, there's no way to turn the visuals off on the controller like you can. You know, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze.
Exactly the same as the Warriors Orochi game.
You can't turn off the visuals.
No, yeah, they couldn't.
Yeah, even if you're, you know, I played a stretch of it using the Pro controller, so the tablet's just sitting there useless. I mean, sometimes the controller parrots what's on the TV. Sometimes it displays a pretty useless menu, and weirdly, sometimes dialogue from the cutscenes plays out of the speakers on the controller and not the TV. So there's sequences that I didn't even realise had dialogue, but because it comes out of the Wiimotes. I have no idea what that's about. It's just, you know, made it feel like it was. I don't know, it just didn't feel like a Wii U game in those moments. And there's also a couple of weird things that there are tutorial panels that pop up during combat at the beginning of the game, and they will be very useful for players who aren't familiar with Dynasty Warriors, but you skip them by pressing B, and you are hammering B almost all the time. So they pop up for a second and then they vanish. I mean, they're filed away into a sub-menu, but it's a very weird design choice. I mean, it's almost punishing people who may be a little lost. Also, there's this other thing where you can save mid-mission during the campaign, which is very handy, but you can only do that if you don't play any other modes before you return to it. So you can save and then go, I'm going to go play another mode, and it won't let you. And again, very weird. It's like the game has a bespoke memory card built into it and it doesn't have any fucking memory on it. It's like, oh, you can make a save, but you can't play anything else until you come back. It's like, well, I kind of want to play adventure mode. Well, you lose your save then, don't you? Weird decisions. But blah, blah, blah. The game is so much fun. It really is. I am just not 100% sure why this grabbed me. But you know, but it has. I mean, if you're a fan of Zelda but not a fan of Dynasty Warriors like me, don't assume that this won't appeal to you, because I think there's a very good chance that it will. It's made me look at Dynasty Warriors in a whole new light and kind of eager to get stuck into another one. So if I have that opportunity, I'm probably going to take it, which is not something I thought I'd ever be saying. But
yeah,
as far as a complete non-expert in Dynasty Warriors is concerned, this is the best Dynasty Warriors game ever by a mile. I thought it was tremendously enjoyable, and I don't know why it suddenly opened my eyes, but I think I like Dynasty Warriors now.
Another one.
Yeah, but I mean, but this is the best one. I like Zelda. That probably played the part. It's so weird because I was playing it the whole time thinking, I've done this a million times and just my eyes have glazed over and I've just wanted to do anything else, but that didn't happen here. I really have to. I suppose I'd have to play another Dynasty Warriors to compare them, because maybe they've made it a bit faster. Maybe they've made the combat not take up so much time. I don't know, but this really did. This this is, although the scrappiness and some of the weird design choices they've made make it feel like anything other than a Nintendo game, it's a Nintendo game. Like, get it.
Yeah.
It's really good. Really good. I love it. And playing co-op, couch co-op, one of you on the tablet, is just...
That's cool.
Yeah, it is. Cool. It is, and the game's just cool. I like it. I really do.
Having just played a Dynasty Warriors game last week, I can't face another one for a while. But I might play this one day.
I don't know.
My boy will like it because it just involves hitting things, so he'll like that.
Yeah, but I don't know why these never appealed to me. But I don't know. It's an interesting one, but this is a highly recommended game.
Damn. When the Wii U does have a game, it's normally pretty good.
Yeah, there is that. Yeah.
Okay, my number one then is FIFA 15. A little bit on Xbox One, mainly on PC. Actually done the review for PC Gamer. It might be on their website now. It's certainly going to be in the next issue. I believe it's appearing online. So yeah, it might be up there by the time you hear this. So I played plenty of the demo before, obviously, but yeah, on with the final version. On Xbox One, if you're signed up to EA Access, admittedly by the time you're hearing this, the game is actually out, but it allowed you to have a 6 hours worth of trial. I was going to say free trial, but it's not technically a free trial if you're on EA Access, which was good. It was good to play some of the game like that while I was waiting for the PC version to download. But they're basically the exact same. The PC version this year, unlike previous years, is the proper Ignite engine-fueled next-gen, in inverted commas, version of the game. So PC players aren't getting stitched up this time. And it runs well on my sort of upper mid-rig. Runs lovely. First, it's one of those games that allows you to play it while it's downloading. And I put it on and it was like all skipping the audio and the frame rate was terrible. I was like, oh God, it's going to be a nightmare. I'm going to be in the menus the whole time. But then after I let it download, it just runs fine. There was a couple of audio skips here and there, but nothing worth mentioning really. So just down to the game itself, which is nice instead of having to talk about that sort of bollocks. And pretty much the same sort of opinions that I've had about it the whole time. I do think fundamentally that this is the best FIFA there has been. Mainly because of I'm going to give it 3 reasons. Firstly, it's the most responsive FIFA has been, so therefore dribbling is a lot better. You can make quick, instinctive, reactive movements with your player to beat other players, which is something FIFA has always massively struggled with unless you were going to fiddle about with the trick stick, which isn't really what football's about. It's much easier to just navigate your way around players quickly this time. That makes a huge amount of difference. The keepers, which they're calling next-gen keepers, which basically is a meaningless sentence, but they're, true to whatever those words might be, they have had a radical overhaul with not only a ton of new animations, but they just behave in far more believable ways. For starters, crucially, one of the ways that they've countered the through ball problem from FIFA 14 is that keepers will sprint out of their goal like Manuel Neuer in the World Cup and clear the ball. Occasionally, very, very occasionally, that might leave them in no man's land, as it does in football. That's quite a fairly common sight in real football, to see a goalie run out of his goal, the striker takes it round him and slots it in. That will happen very occasionally, and I saw it a couple of times in my time on FIFA 15, but most of the time they'll go out, smash the ball into touch. That helps a lot in countering the through ball tactics from FIFA 14. They also, you can now score through their legs, stuff like you would have probably thought could have been in there and should have been in there for years, but actually wasn't. Quite often, in real football, you'll see the ball go through a goalie's legs in a one-on-one. It just means there's more variety in the types of goals that are being scored, and that kind of bleeds out across the pitch because there is just more variety in play. There's more variety in expression. The players don't feel so robotic because of this new drama and emotional side of the game they tried to capture, which, yes, is tantamount mainly to cutscenes, but you will still see, inevitably you're going to see the beginning of cutscenes as you're playing a game of FIFA anyway, or if you're playing someone who won't skip cutscenes online, you're going to see them. And they're better than they've ever been. Miss a chance in the 89th minute in a tight game, your striker will collapse to his knees, other players around him will react instead of just staring vacantly into space and sort of rotating on the spot. That is also still in there, but it's way better than it has been. It just makes the whole thing feel more organic I should say, and generally believable, but crucial, but it's still somehow doesn't really feel like football. And I think I've hit the nail on the head. I've said in previous years it's because the game doesn't have a midfield. And that's kind of unfair in FIFA 15, because if you're playing against the computer, a lot of the play is in midfield while you're playing against two banks of four, sort of 8 defensive players. More like it would be in real football, but the AI is still far too dribble happy, and it's not much fun playing the AI. So you're going to be playing online. And online, it's still far too easy to get the ball to your striker from defence. People will hammer the pass button, and 9 times out of 10, it will just ping a pass. If you're playing with a good team, this is, and you should be able to play with 5-star teams. For most people, that's what playing football game is all about. Playing with Real Madrid, playing with Manchester United, playing with, you could argue they're not a 5-star team at the moment, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? Playing with Arsenal, playing with Chelsea, the star players. People want to play with star players. That's why their faces look so realistic. That's why their stats are done. That's why they have specific animations. For most people, that's what the game's about. I know other people argue against that. It's way, way, way too easy to get the ball to your strikers just by pressing that pass button, and then that means that it's almost impossible to maintain a kind of sense of attacking momentum. If you were to watch a football match where a good team is playing a less good team, you'll see, like, most of the time one team will be an attack and the other team will be clearing, and they'll have brief periods of possession and a few attacks, but most of the game will be one team attacking, one team defending. Or there might be a more even game where there are periods of that happening. But in FIFA, almost every game is just played in transition, which is a term from basketball, which is just we attack, you attack, we attack, you attack, we attack, you attack. Now, in real life, when that does happen in football occasionally, makes for some great matches. But if every football match was like that, it wouldn't be special. And FIFA 15, almost every single match is like that, especially when you're playing online. And even though it makes radical improvements over FIFA 14's through ball problem and other issues that dogged FIFA 14, it still just feels like this kind of breakneck, weird game of basketball football that ultimately can just feel a little hollow. I rate the game. I'm going to enjoy playing it for the 2 months before Pro Evolution Soccer comes out. It's definitely a lot better than FIFA 14, although ask me in 8 months and I might be swearing at this one as much as I was at FIFA 14, yet they still haven't quite captured the beating heart of association football.
Would you say if you're not a football obsessive to get it? Is there enough new? I mean, it feels like a patch to me.
Probably the least. It's probably the version that the changes appeal most to football fanatics. Like, the coverage is identical now to Sky Sports, so it was always very, very close, but now they're even using the same fonts, a lot of the same music, things like that. So to nerds, and big football fans are nerds, like I class myself in that, absolutely. You will be able to geek out and all that stuff, but to a non-football obsessive, this is meaningless. So all the stuff with the keepers that I was talking about, the stuff that doesn't directly affect gameplay, meaningless. The emotional stuff, kind of meaningless. So yeah, I'd say to a non-football obsessive, it's probably the least vital version. To a football obsessive, probably the most vital version, which is an unhelpful answer.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I'll speak about it next week. I'm looking forward to playing it, but
I've had matches online that annoyed me as much as any match in FIFA 14. So I fear for your sanity.
God,
I fear for your sanity in that respect.
People love this game. This is the game that people buy. We're two of the only people that are unhappy with FIFA 14. Everyone else...
there has been some lower review scores, though, for FIFA 15 that have come out this week than classically have been for this series.
Well, it looks... the differences seem so much smaller than usual, but I'll speak about it next week, I guess.
I will say that even playing against Real Madrid, which was a nightmare in different ways, was not pick the ball up, ping it to Ronaldo with a through ball every single time from the back line. That, I will say, is largely eliminated, as are the ridiculous headers from corners. So that's nice.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah.
And I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I'm sure it can't be worse than FIFA 14. I see some of the improvements, but I'll speak about it next week. I hope it's not the same thing. But then again, it wouldn't surprise me if it was the same thing, because this is a game that people love as it is.
Yes.
So we shall see about that. But I'll speak about it next week. But yeah, that's us done. Thank you very much for listening. The usual spiel. We're on Twitter at John Denton at Chet Roivers at Chet and John's, and we're on YouTube. Put Chet and John into YouTube and you will find our channel. There's loads of stuff on there. We try to update it at least once a day if we can, but there's stuff on there. It's worth a look. That's it. We will be back next week. Thanks very much for listening.
Hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel. That's all the young people do. Us old fuckers don't really know about that sort of stuff, but it's massively useful for us and you to do it.
Yeah.
Say hello if you're a gamer today, you're listening in the morning and you see a tired, slightly dishevelled, bearded man walking around. There's going to be many of those, actually, so just go and say hello to them all.
Yeah, I'm not there, but have fun if you go. Nice one.
Real talk.
Goodbye.
That's...
This brutal killing took place while the family was gathered at home on a Sunday afternoon. Don't touch that dial now, we're just getting started.